Salutations, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 47 of the one they call Broccoli by Texiliaz. As always, the link to the fic will be in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's jump on into it. Chapter 47, The Talk. Author's Notes. Hello, everyone. Hope you will enjoy this chapter. I'm really nervous about this one, but hopefully it's good. Toshinori's point of view. Toshinori had been looking forward to the license exams. Keyword being had. Because, of course, the universe had other plans. Mainly, All for one. Apparently, the villain had requested to see him, claiming he had information he would only give out to Toshinori personally. And although Toshinori wasn't exactly happy with the idea of facing the villain, he was also curious about what information he might have. And so, he had reluctantly agreed to visit Tartarus. Gran Torino joined him, much to his surprise, but relief. He wouldn't join him during the meeting with the villain, but it felt good to know he would be there for him when he got out.
All Might. I was not sure you were going to come,
All for one said, with a smile, as soon as he walked into the room.
Cut to the chase. You said you had some information you would only share with me. Now spit it out,
Toshinori growled, sitting down in the chair facing the villain.
So impatient, the villain hummed. And yes, I did say that, didn't I? But now I wonder if I should tell you or not. Stop playing games. What do you know? How is Izuku?
Toshinori blinked at the sudden change of subject, before his face twisted into a snarl at the mention of his boy from the villain's mouth.
You have no right to know how he is doing. Come on now, All Might. I am his father, after all. You may be his father, but you have no right to him anymore, he said, smiling just a little. In fact, he isn't even yours anymore. What does that mean? You cannot seriously think they would let you keep custody after being thrown in here. He is with his new family now. You mean you and your husband? All for one gritted out. That is correct. You cannot touch him anymore, Toshinori said with confidence. What a bold claim, considering you don't even know him. What is that supposed to mean? Oh, so I was right. He really hasn't told you the truth. I suppose he does not trust you after all. If he did, he would have told you about his quirk. What do you mean by his quirk? Izuku is quirkless. Is he? All for one laughed mockingly. That just goes to show how little you know about my son.
Toshinori stood up, clenching his fists in anger. The intercom sparked to life above him, and Tsukauchi's voice could be heard from the speakers. Don't let him get to you, Don't let him get to you, All Might. We're here for the information, nothing else. If he doesn't want to talk, then just walk away. Toshinori took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. Right. The villain had said he had information. That's the only reason he is here. He couldn't let himself be dragged into useless arguments. What did you do to Midoriya Inko? Toshinori gritted out, getting straight to the point. The villain simply smiled at him.
You know, I truly pity you, All Might. You have my amazing son right under your nose, and you don't even know what he's capable of. The way he's been playing you for years. Midoriya Inko, Toshinori gritted out, only to get cut off by All for One waving a dismissive hand. Is no longer any concern for me. As soon as I learned of her hurting my child, well, she got what was coming to her. And don't bother asking about her body. You'll never find it. Her body? Toshinori gasped. So she's really... Oh, come on now, All Might. Do not look so alarmed. But how could you? She was the mother of your child. How could you just... Toshinori trailed off, feeling sick to his stomach. She was, yes, but she was never mine. Not like Izuku is mine. She did not carry my blood, All For One explained matter-of-factly. Is that the only reason you called me here? To just gloat? To tell me you killed young Izuku's mother? Of course it isn't. I also wanted to confirm a few things. And trust me, this has been very informative. Now, I know you are just as dumb, if not dumber than I even expected. You mentioned young Izuku having a quirk, Toshinori gritted out, ignoring the comments regarding his intellect. He wouldn't let the man get to him. Yes, I did, All For One said with a bright smile. But there is no way I am going to tell you any more about that. Just the knowledge that you are this clueless brings me so much joy. You might say that, but you still will be rotting away here at Tartarus. You will never see young Izuku again. I will make sure of that. At that, All For One got quiet. He almost looked genuinely upset at the idea. Their time soon ran out, and Toshinori didn't say anything else as he got up to leave. He met Gran Torino outside the door, who looked just as disturbed as Toshinori felt. So, that's what he wanted to tell you. That Midoriya Inko is dead. Gran Torino huffed, crossing his arms and glancing at the closed door. I believe that was just the cover. It seemed like he mostly just wanted to boast about his secret he knows about young Izuku. I just don't know what to believe. I don't think the kid would lie about being quirkless, but I also don't see why All For One would lie about it either. Maybe it's a quirk unfit for heroics, Gran Torino suggested, or something hard to talk about. You shouldn't paint the kid bad before you actually talk to him, his old mentor told him seriously. Yes, I suppose you are right, Toshinori sighed. Speaking of children, how is young Shigaraki? Oh, you mean Tenko? He is slowly but steadily getting better, Gran Torino answered, a sad smile on his face as they started to walk and talk. They've managed to break through some of the brainwashing, and he was able to tell us his true full name, Shimura Tenko. He still has a long way to go, but he's getting better. So are the other kids from the league. That's a relief, Toshinori sighed, before checking his phone with a frown. Young Izuku should be done with his exam soon. Let's have some faith in the kid. I'm sure he can do it. Izuku's point of view. I can't fucking do this! Izuku and his classmates were currently surrounded by other students, who all had made it their goal to take his class out first. They were completely cornered, with no way out. And despite it just being an exam, Danger Sense was going crazy inside of his head. Balls started flying, and Izuku tried dodging as many as he could, but there was too many, and he had already lost 2 of his 3 life points. He just needed some time to think, damn it. Just as he thought that, a pink fog suddenly erupted from his body and covered the majority of the stadium. At first, he thought it was someone else's quirk, until N gasped out in surprise, clearly recognizing the power. My quirk, he gasped. Kid, you just used my quirk. The man sounded surprisingly excited over it. What's going on? Edadaka called out from beside him. My quirk just mutated again, Izuku explained, if only to stop the panic from spreading around among his classmates. It's completely harmless, but should buy us some time. They then used the cover from the fog in order to strategize. Somehow, they managed to corner the other students and turn the tides in their favor. After that, it was smooth sailing, and they all got to the second part of the exam, which was rescue training. It was tough, but Izuku somehow managed to pass, and so did most of his classmates, with the only exceptions being Kachan and Todoroki. He felt so incredibly happy as he was handed his license, and he couldn't stop crying over it. Without thinking, Izuku ran over to Shota and held out the license for the man to see. Dad, look, I did it! He cried out, a giant smile on his face as he bounced on his feet. I see that, Shota answered with a soft smile. The man then frowned, looking conflicted for a moment, before he reached over and patted Izuku's head. You did good, kid, he told him softly, causing Izuku to cry even more.
Without realizing it, Izuku had rushed forward and hugged Shota tightly. The men let out a silent oof at the impact, before awkwardly hugging him back. There was the sound of a camera going off, and they both stiffened as they turned around to see Todoroki snapping a picture of them, before typing away at his phone. "Todoroki! What are you doing?" Izuku squealed, embarrassed at having been caught. Which he really shouldn't have been, considering they were out in the open. "Just thought you'd like to remember this moment," Todoroki answered, before closing his phone. A second later, Izuku's own phone vibrated in his pocket, and he opened it to find Todoroki had sent him the picture. He blushed at the sight of himself and his dad hugging. They almost looked like a proper family. "Thank you," Izuku whispered, earning a thumbs up from his classmate. He sent a photo of his new license to Toshinori, while they waited for the rest of the class to gather at the bus. After a bit of debating, he also added the photo of him and Shota hugging. He was expecting the usual response of smiley faces and thumbs up, but frowned at the lack of response, even long after Toshinori had seen the message. Maybe he was just really busy? That evening was spent with a lot of celebrating. Izuku was just about to go to bed, turn back into broccoli, when he was suddenly stopped by Toshinori. He was a bit surprised, since the man had been avoiding him ever since he got home from the exam.
"I am sorry, but could I speak with you for a moment?" Toshinori asked quietly, hands fidgeting in front of him.
Sure thing," Izuku answered. He glanced over at the vestiges in case they knew what this was about, but they looked just as confused as him. He nervously followed Toshinori into their apartment, where Shota sat on the couch. The man seemed surprised to see him.
"What's going on?"
Shota asked, glancing between them nervously. Izuku blinked in surprise at that. So Shota didn't either know what this was about. He thought for sure that the man was the one who had wanted to talk.
"It's nothing serious. I just wished to speak with him about something," Toshinori told him, causing Izuku to swallow nervously.
They sat down at the kitchen table, where Shota joined them. Izuku fidgeted nervously. He was grateful when Slushy jumped up into his lap so he could distract himself by petting her.
"What's this about?"
Shota asked his husband, who looked just as uncomfortable as Izuku felt.
"There is just something All for One mentioned,"
Toshinori said softly, frowning down at the table. "My dad? You met him?" Izuku asked.
"Yes, that's who I went to meet today. He claimed to have some information he would only share with me, but in reality, I think he just wanted to gloat," he said with a grimace.
"Gloat? About what?"
"About you," Toshinori answered, much to Izuku's surprise. "He claimed I did not know you as well as he did."
"Well, that's bullshit," Shota huffed as he crossed his arms and leaned back in his chair.
"I supposed so too, but he also mentioned a quirk."
At that, both Izuku and Shota tensed up. They shared a brief look of panic, thinking, so this is it. Did he say anything else?" Izuku asked carefully.
"No, just that you were not, in fact, quirkless,"
Toshinori answered with a sigh and a shake of his head. He then looked up at Izuku, eyes uncertain.
"My boy, have you been hiding a quirk from us?"
Izuku hesitated. He felt so scared. Sure, he'd planned to tell his dad the truth after the exam was over, but he didn't expect it to happen this soon. "Please don't be mad," Izuku whispered. He felt sick with worry and like his heart was going to beat right out of his chest.
"I would never be mad at you, my boy,"
Toshinori answered, though there was some hesitation in his voice. Izuku curled into himself, weighing his options. Closing his eyes and taking a deep breath, Izuku let himself transform into his hybrid form, thinking that was probably the better option. After all, he couldn't defend himself while in his cat form. He wanted to still be able to speak and explain himself, should he be yelled at. Transforming into this hybrid form came easier to him now, after he had trained it. And as soon as he transformed, the ache in his body disappeared. He heard 2 gasps, and he was scared to open his eyes to look at his dad's, terrified to see what expressions they might be wearing. This was it. No more hiding or denying the truth. With this, they would both know the truth about him and his secret double life.
You have cat features?
Toshinori asked, and Izuku blinked up at him in surprise. Why did he sound so happy? Sure enough, his dad was smiling at him, looking surprised, but not mad? You're not mad? Izuku asked, feeling so small as he curled further into himself, his tail curling around himself protectively.
Why ever would I be mad? That is such a cute quirk. Why would you hide that from us? Toshinori gushed. His eyes were practically sparkling with excitement.
Izuku blushed at being called cute, his ears falling back on his head in embarrassment. Wait, you're really not mad at me for lying? Izuku pressed, unable to believe what he was hearing.
Not at all. I am a bit confused why you would not show us this before, but I can also understand if it is something you do not want others to see.
It doesn't change anything, Shota suddenly said. There was an understanding in his eyes that made Izuku relax. Not at all like with Toshinori, who looked at him with big, clueless eyes.
Did the blonde really not see the connection between Izuku and broccoli?
It doesn't? Izuku asked quietly.
No, you're still our student, he said firmly, before pausing and giving Izuku a thoughtful look. And I suppose you are also our son now, too. Nothing will change that, no matter what the potato head might say. We know you better than him. That is correct, Toshinori agreed, though Izuku doubted he understood the full meaning of Shota's words. You are still my successor. I chose to give One for All to you, and I will never regret that decision, even if you have adorable cat ears now. Izuku's face caught on fire at those words. It only got worse when the vestiges started laughing and cooing over him, too. I have to ask, though, Toshinori continued, voice turning serious. This quirk, did it come from him?
Izuku winced at the mention of his dad, but nodded anyway. Yeah, he apparently gave me this quirk when I was a kid, but it never manifested until a few years back. We think I might have a quirk that lets me hold and use several quirks?
When did it manifest? Shota suddenly asked urgently.
About 4 years ago, when I was 12.
You were only 12?
Shota sucked in a sharp breath. The words, when I found you, went unsaid. Toshinori, completely oblivious to Shota's inner struggle, just smiled sadly at Izuku.
I suppose I can understand why you would not want to talk about your quirk then, if you did not manifest it until you were 12. You would have only had it for a few years back when we first met.
Shota suddenly put his face in his hands and let out a low groan.
You had it for years before meeting us,
he sighed, sounding absolutely heartbroken. Yeah, Izuku agreed, unsure what else to say. Are you, okay? He asked Shota, who looked like he was going through some sort of crisis.
I'm fine,
the man gritted out, before shaking his head with another sigh.
Just processing.
He then turned to his husband and gave him a thoughtful look.
And you're okay with this? You have nothing else to say? Of course I'm okay. I'm just happy it wasn't anything more serious. All for One made it sound much worse than it actually was. But, in the end, Izuku is still Izuku.
Izuku is still Izuku, huh? Not Izuku is broccoli or vice versa?
Oh god, he really had no idea.
Oh my god, Toshi, are you serious right now? Nana groaned from inside the mindscape.
I knew he was dense, but this is too much, Daigo whined. Maybe he's in denial?
Yoichi suggested thoughtfully. The phone suddenly rang.
startling all of them. "Ah, I apologize. I will be right back." Toshinori excused himself before walking over to the bedroom to answer the phone. "Well, that could have gone better," Shota muttered, a look of utter disbelief on his face. Izuku couldn't agree more, and he laid his head on the table with a groan. Slushy meowed in his lap, probably wondering what he was doing. "Are you okay, kid?" How could he not know?" Izuku whined. "Do you want me to tell him?" Shota asked. He heard the man move before he felt him settle down on the chair next to his own, an arm wrapping around his shoulders. "Is it bad if I say no?" Izuku whispered, looking up at Shota through teary eyes. "I don't want him to hate me." "I think nothing could make him hate you," Shota said slowly. "But no, it's not bad if you want to keep this to yourself, either. At least, until you are ready." "Do you hate me now?" Izuku asked quietly, a few tears running down his face. "No, never," Shota told him sternly, arm tightening around his shoulder before he forced himself to relax. "I was surprised and annoyed at myself for not connecting the dots earlier, but I could never hate you." "Even though I lied?" At that, Shota smiled just a tiny bit. "No, not even after you lied. I'm honestly a bit impressed you managed to keep it hidden for so long. You'd make a good undercover agent." Izuku blushed at the praise, unsure what to say to that. They sat in silence for a while, waiting for Toshinori to return. Shota cleared his throat next to him, and when Izuku looked over, the man was blushing just a little. "So, this new form?" he asked, unwrapping his arm and to instead gesture to Izuku's ears and tails. "Is that a new thing?" "Oh, yeah. I discovered it during the attack on the training camp," Izuku answered sheepishly. "It's cute," Shota blurted out, before he seemed to realize what he just said, and he turned away, a blush on his face. Izuku felt himself blush at that, too, not sure what to say. The vestiges were all teasing him, Nana ruffling his hair and laughing at his dismay. "Anyway," I thought Shota cleared his throat and glanced over at Izuku uncertainly. "Will you come home tonight?" Yeah, I will. Just gotta go and change first. Technically, I don't have to change into that form if I'm like this, but I want to." "You want to?" Shota echoed, sounding oddly relieved. "Yeah, being like that, it makes me happy," Izuku admitted, ducking his head. "I see. I'm glad to hear that," Shota answered with a small smile. "You thought I wasn't happy?" Izuku asked, surprised. "I wasn't sure what to believe," Shota sighed, before giving him a soft smile and reaching over to ruffle his hair. "But I think I'm starting to understand. You're still you, and always have been. Nothing has really changed." "Yeah," Izuku agreed with a toothy smile. "And I don't mind you petting me, either. Just wanted to let you know." "Is that so?" Shota said with a smirk. "I will keep that in mind then, kitten." Kitten?" Izuku squeaked out, face turning a bright red. "It's true, isn't it?" "I'm 15! "Still a small kitten," Shota chuckled, much to Izuku's annoyance and the vestige's amusement. Before Izuku could respond, Toshinori came back. "Sorry about that. Sukuuchi called. What did I miss?" "Nothing much," Shota answered with a smile. He still looked highly amused. I, um, I think I should head back," Izuku said, still blushing. "Oh, all right then," Toshinori answered, sounding a bit disappointed. "If you see Broccoli, will you let him know to come home? It's getting a bit late."
"I will,"
Izuku lied easily, giving the blonde a nervous smile. Meanwhile, Shota was staring at his husband like he was the biggest idiot alive. Izuku headed out of the apartment and into the lounge, letting out a sigh of relief as he closed the door. Now, to just head back to his room and change back into his cat form. Are those cat ears? Izuku jumped at the sudden loud voice and turned to find Iriraka and Asui staring at him, a huge grin on the brunette's face as she rushed over to his side. Oh my god, they are back! That's so cute! She all but squealed. Izuku stammered, hiding his face behind his arms. Shit, he had forgotten he was still in his hybrid form. And you're so fluffy! What happened? I thought it was a quirk. Turns out this is also part of my quirk, Izuku answered hesitantly. What's all this ruckus about? Kachan suddenly shouted as he and the rest of the class rounded the corner. As soon as he saw Izuku, his eyes widened comically. No fucking way! Izuku, you fucking idiot! He barked out a laugh. They look good on you, Todoroki said with his thumbs up. Wait, hold on. These are part of your quirk too? How many mutations do you have? Izuku laughed nervously, but was interrupted by the door to the apartment suddenly slamming open. If you're gonna be loud, go and do it somewhere else, Shota grumbled, causing all of the class to scramble to the other side of the lounge. Thank you, Izuku mouthed to his dad, only to get waved off. Izuku took that moment to escape to his room and get changed. He didn't dare risk going through the lounge right now, not with the class being on high alert. So, instead, he settled on going outside and scratching on one of the windows to his dad's apartment. It only took a small moment before Toshinori noticed him. Ah, there you are, little one, Toshinori said fondly, as he opened the window and let him inside. The man then paused, looking at Broccoli thoughtfully. You know, you two really are alike. You two are really alike, he mumbled before shaking his head with a smile. It's too bad you just missed him. I think you would like young Izuku's new form. Maybe that's why you two get along so well? Probably, Shota answered, as he walked over and took Broccoli from Toshinori, cradling him in his arms, without any hesitation. They are very alike, after all. Our two little brats. Broccoli meowed in offense to being called a brat, but otherwise cuddled closer to Shota. He'd missed being carried by his dad. Oh, hey! You're holding him again! Toshinori exclaimed with clear joy and surprise. I am. Don't make a big deal out of it, Shota muttered, a small blush on his face as he ran a hand down Broccoli's back. He's soft. Toshinori laughed at that and reached over to pet Broccoli too. He sure is. As expected, his classmates kept pestering him about his hybrid form until he gave up and reluctantly turned back into it for them to see. It felt kind of nice to be able to show them this side of himself. Those who knew he was Broccoli didn't even find it weird, but then there were others who didn't know and brought it up. You kind of remind me of Broccoli. You know, Sensei's cat, Shinso said during lunch one day. Izuku had started being in his hybrid form more and more until he was basically walking around in this form most of the day, only turning back into Broccoli for the night. Oh? Izuku mumbled awkwardly. Yeah, you two are really similar. I mean, you're both green, Iriraka giggled. They were all looking at Izuku thoughtfully, and he curled into himself, unsure what to say. Maybe they are siblings, Todoroki said with a shrug. Now that had everyone's attention, as they all turned to look at him with various degrees of shock and amusement. As expected, the table turned into chaos as they tried to stomp that theory, while Todoroki insisted there had to be some connection. Izuku let out a surprised laugh at that. After all, Todoroki knew damn well that there was some connection, but he also knew it wasn't like that. The conversation soon shifted towards their upcoming internships, and any suspicious looks given to Izuku had disappeared by then. Izuku gratefully went back to eating his lunch, chuckling at his friend's antics as he listened to them talk. Internships, huh?
He wondered who he would go with.
Author's notes. I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave Inko as an unsolved mystery or not, but in the end, I decided I at least wanted to reveal that she ain't coming back. So it's half a mystery, lol. Aw, look at them, finally having a sort of talk. If only Toshinori weren't such a big dum-dum. Seriously, this was so much fun, but also frustrating to write. I love Toshinori, but he can be so tense. Don't worry, though. He'll find out the full truth soon enough. Next up, Eri! I'm so excited for her. The story is going to wrap itself up after her rescue, but I do have a sequel planned, too. Just warning you all that we are nearing the end. I say, but we'll probably write 10 or so more chapters, lol. Anyway, thank you everyone for your continued patience, comments, and support. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. And that's a wrap on chapter 47. Next chapter will be the last chapter, and then we'll be caught up, and it'll be updates as the author posts. I am so excited and anxious, but I've already talked about that so much, so let's focus on the chapter, which was so freaking hilarious. You have no idea how hard it was to not laugh while reading the talk Toshinori had with Izuku because he's so dense and he doesn't know that Izuku is broccoli. It's so funny and so perfect. Anyway, sorry if the, a volume situation is weird. I have a different setup currently because I'm staying at my mom's, and so I wasn't sure, what sensitivity to put my mic, and I was changing it while recording. Probably not the best of ideas. Also, sorry if I'm really quiet. It's because I'm at my mom's. At my dad's, I don't have to worry about waking him up by talking loudly. At my mom's, I do, because it's a lot smaller of a house. Anyway, all that being said, please go show the original author, Texiliaz, some love. Please leave me a comment. I love, love, love reading your comments. They make me so, so, so happy. Please leave me specifically hate comments, and I'll give you a shout out in the next video. That being said, shout outs to Sayuri Rodriguez, K9H20, and Realya7. Thank you so much for your hate comments. Please don't flame these people. I ask for hate comments, and it's all in good fun. All that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, pups.